I see that you guys made it back into my video. I will say, guys, that no matter what, I will have how to write. I need you to learn how to write. I need you to see what writing is. I need you to understand that writing is really, you get out your journal, you start to really write. I need you to start writing something. I need you to find out what to write about. I need you to realize that you need to write your story. I need you to realize that you have 73 years of life. I realize I have 73 years of life and more. I realize every single day I get into my journal, I have my Samsung A20 Galaxy, I go into the note system, I start to write about my life. I post it inside my Mega Drive. You guys can see that every single day. I also write so much. I ask myself what to write. I ask myself never to say that. I never have to ask questions. I realize that when you ask questions, you will only lose when you're never using the you and I questions. I have to do a video on that. I need you to understand that when you're writing, you need to be able to write something about yourself. You can do it. You can do it only when you start. You have to realize that when you start, you are able to move forward. You need to move forward so that you can really help people with your life. You have to realize that your life can change a story. Your life is a story that can be changed throughout time. You need to be the person who is the main character in your film, writing a story and writing a new chapter every single day. I do that every single day. I'm a person who is always learning something. I learned today that life pinned me down. I just have to be in my bed. I just have to write something. I have to start connecting the dots. I connect all the words together. I make sure no matter what, that I'm always writing something. I just keep writing, I keep writing nonsense. I then get an idea, I write it down. I give you value as I write in my journal. I realize that I write about my story. I then write about other people. I write about other people with my story. I write about films I watched. I write about anything in terms of value. I write how I can teach you. I teach you something also inside of that. I may have a craving for something. I teach myself in the journal how to overcome it. I realize no matter what, I connect with myself in my journal. I talk to myself every single day inside my journal. I realize that it's very, let's say, meditative for me to be able to do it. I realize that it's an important factor of my life. I can always write something down. I can relax. I can just be short on my words. I realize that you have to be short on your words. You can be long in your words when you're doing a nice, beautiful video. I realize that when you're in a dialogue with people, you have to be very short with what you say. You have to say something that, let's say, never is really, really too much for someone to handle. You need to be just in a short time frame of communication that you say that you, no matter what, you live a long life. You just need a short talk. I realize no matter what, you do that inside your journal. You realize that the more you write in your journal, you can better communicate. You can better your confidence. You can better look in the world. You can do everything that you need in the world when you're boosting your confidence and when you're growing. You have to realize that it's about improving your mind. I realize no matter what, when I improve my mind, I realize when I improve my mind, I'm a person who is far greater than yesterday. I'm always a person who can talk. I'm a person who can really, really see whatever I need to see. I see a bloke over there, I go and say something. I realize that I can say something, I've already planned it. I realize no matter what, I say something in life. I never say nothing. I say something to help someone. You also have to do that in your journal. You have to do it in your daily life. You have to do it around the people you're going with. You have to realize that most of the people out there are never your friend. You have to realize that when you're succeeding more, you're going to realize that more people are going to drop off in your life. I realize that when this happens, you have to realize it's more that you're more successful. You get haters in life, you just never need them. You realize they drag you down, you cut them off, you burn the bridges. I burnt my bridges today. I realized I blocked around 30 people. I realized I never need them. I blocked them. I realized they did nothing wrong to me. I realized they did nothing right to me. I realized they just never talked to me. I realized no matter what, that I have them in my mind. I realized that I remember them. I just realized they never even talked to me for 5 years now. I realized I can just cut them off now, please, and I will just go with my life. I never have to see them again. I never have to talk to them again. I never have to think about them. I realized that I just made 30 connection points in my mind for something better to do. I realized I've done that with my journal. I realized I have to start cutting away people. I realized when I see a person from the past, I just block them. I just block them. I realized no matter what, I have to burn the bridge. I realized once I block them, I realized once I block the person, I realized they're going to go around the crowd and I realized they're going to say, they're going to say, you, Danny, are a disgrace. You blocked me for no reason. I realized no matter what, I never talk to you. I never talk to you. I need you to understand. You need to be your best friend in life. You need to be a person who's far greater than everybody else. You can do that only with a journal. You have to understand that 3% of the world, currently, I would say 1% of the world is only writing in a journal. You have to realize that your journal is so important. I've been writing in my journal for 1 year now. I've traveled Australia for 1 year. I've traveled Australia for 1 year. I can only do it with my journal. I was able to do it because of my journal. I planned my finances in my journal. I planned where to go with my journal. I planned who to talk with my journal. I planned everything around music and my life coaching videos and my time management and my schedule and my connecting the dots and all my words and how I talk right now is all planned in my journal. I planned every single word that you hear right now. I planned this video. I planned my habits. I planned how to lose weight. I planned so much in terms of veganism. I taught so much value inside of my journal. I realized that all you have to do is pick it up and read it. I realized that most of the world will never do that. I never care. You have to understand that you need to be important in your life. You have to understand that there is more to life than what you're capable of now. You need to realize that you need to start growing now. You need to start doing something important. You need to start doing something that's going to help you. I realize no matter what, when I am growing, I'm really learning. I'm really doing something that's going to, I'm really doing something that's going to improve me. I start doing mentors. I start writing my journal. I start really improving my schedule. I make a flexible schedule. I make a schedule where I have no time blockages. I never go to the grocery store. I never go to a grocery store at a certain time. I never sleep at a certain time. I never wake up at a certain time. Although I sleep 6 hours a day. I make that my schedule. I make sure I have to be 1 hour prior to wherever I have to go. I have to be there 1 hour before. I realize I have some schedule points. I realize no matter what, I'll teach that in the future videos. You have to realize that when you're writing though, you can write out these schedules. You can say what's important in your life. You can also see you can see what you need in life. You have to ask yourself, what do you need? You just have to realize that you have to keep growing even though you're asking questions. You have to realize that you have questions to help you grow. You have to ask better questions to make a better life. You have to realize that no matter what, you have mentors online. You have me as a mentor. You have many people as a mentor who can help you to grow. You have to be surrounded by them more than those people around you. I left the crowd. I left Sydney. I see Sydney as a dead zone. When I go to Sydney, I see 5 people need to shoot me. I see 5 people literally need to come and shoot me. I see blood everywhere. I feel traumatized going there. I'm not a victim. I just never need to go there. I have to go away from there. I feel it's dead. I realize my biological dad lives in Sydney. I realize I visited him. I realize I spoke to him 2 hours max in the time I was there for 1 month. I realize no matter what, I never need that. I realize no matter what, I need something better. I need to travel. I need to start doing I realize I'm better than my biological dad. I'm better than everybody else. I just need Jesus. I have Jesus right now. I realize no matter what, I gain Jesus. I gain Jesus through writing my journal. I realize that when you're writing more and more, you're able to reason more and more. You are able to reason more and more because you're writing. You have to realize what that means. I realize that when you are really reasoning more and more, you're really making sure that you are writing more of your why. You have to realize that your why is your I. You have to realize when you're writing in your journal, you have more reasons to succeed. You have to realize that when you're bettering your communication skills, you can only do it in a journal. You can only do it in a journal. You can do it on video. You have to realize that you only have a certain amount of time you can do a video in a day. You can do your journal everywhere. You can do it in a grocery store, you can do it around people. You can do it while sleeping. You can do it in the shower. You can do it on the beach. You can do it anywhere. You can do it while driving. You just have to realize you just be in the legal zone. You have to realize you can do it anywhere. You can do it in front of people. You're speaking and you can write something. You can write notes in a seminar. You have to understand that when you're doing videos though, you have to orchestrate your life around it. You have to realize that I was just about to go to Brisbane so that I can go to the shop and get something to eat. I realize I have 1 hour here, I can do a video. I'm in a hostel currently. I realize no matter what, I give $17 a night. I realize no matter what, I have a beautiful CBD Brisbane area. I realize no matter what, I came here because I'm so smart. I realize no matter what, I can go to Melbourne. I realize that Melbourne is twice colder. I realize that Melbourne is 2.5 times colder than Brisbane in winter. I realize that Sydney is dead. I never need Sydney. I realized that Melbourne is very cold. I was there last winter. I realized that this winter in 2020, I'll be in Brisbane. I realized that no matter what, I made Brisbane my winter go-to. I realized that I need to be in tropical areas. I need to be in summer areas of my life. I need to be where it's hotter. I came to Queensland for winter. I realized over here in Queensland, it's always over 20 degrees. I realized in Brisbane, it's always over 20 degrees. I realize it may drop below. I realize it's always warmer than Sydney and Melbourne in winter. I realize that Hobart is very quiet. I realize Adelaide is, let's say, dead and quiet. I never need that. I realize no matter what, that Darwin is something new. I can go there. I realize that Perth, I've been there. I realize I've seen it. You have to understand that you need to go to somewhere where it's much better. You need to go into your journal. You need to travel the world. You can only do that with your journal. You need a journal. You need to write down your thoughts. I have 23,000 quotes. I write them down. I apply the information. I do something that's incredible for my life. I add value. You have to become a person of value. You need to realize that now is your time. You have to realize that it's a slow process. I started growth with a slow process. I started with a journal. I really started off to read. I'll do this in my 20s now. I'll get out my journal. I'd start writing my story straight away. I'll write anything about it. I'll just write something. I write about my daily life. I write about the people around me. I write about what's going on in the world. I write about how to succeed. I ask myself better questions in my journal. I think of strategies and business strategies to help my life in my journal. I just write something. I write about my ex-girlfriend. I write about what she says. I write about everything. I write about what people say. I write about how I care about people. I write about everything. I only care about I now. I don't even care about anybody except for I. I realize that my I is Jesus. I care about Jesus the most. I do what Jesus needs. I do Jesus' work. I realize that I go and study my mentors. I realize I just go and write. I'll go and listen to this person now because of these reasons. I'll go and search up this because I have to find out about this because of this and this. You have to realize that you need some reasons to back your logic. You have to realize that logic is going to help drive you. You just have to realize that no matter what, logic is more what you're planning in daily life while also disciplining your mind. You have to realize that logic will help to discipline your mind. You have to realize that emotions will carry out your logic. You have to realize that the logic plans it. You have to realize that EQ delivers it. You understand? You have to realize that. I realize no matter what, I'm always a person who is planning something. I realize that when I speak this way, I speak this way for a reason. I started my videos, I started my how-to videos way back. I started it 3 years ago. I realized I started slowly. I started doing something. I realized nobody in the area was doing it. I started to do it. I realized no matter what, I stuck to it. I could only do that because I was reading 3 years prior. I was reading for 3 years to even step up on the camera. I realized it takes time. I realized over time, I realized the more you're writing in your journal, you're going to be able to speak better. You're going to be more confident. You're going to look better. You're going to see that I plan to be vegan in my journal. I plan to lose 47 kilos in my journal. I plan all the finances I have today. I realize I have freedom. I have time freedom. I have travel freedom. I have money freedom. I have everything. I have freedom, most of all. I have Jesus Christ in my life. I am able to plan it. You can create anything when you plan it. You can only do it in your journal. You can never do it in your head. You have to realize that you need to write. You need to write a fiction book. You need to write something. You have to write a movie script. You have to write some dialogues inside of your journal. You have to plan how to get women. You have to plan how to get money. You have to plan everything. You just realize now that the most important factor of your life is freedom. You have to realize that freedom is more important than money. You have to realize that freedom is more important than fame. You have to realize that freedom is more than everything of this world. You need to work for freedom more. I need you to realize that I have time now to do my videos on the go. I realize I planned in my journal that I'll be doing 1 hour videos now instead of 4 hour videos. I realize that on the road, I have to be quick. I have to do a 1 hour video here and there. I realize I can do that. I realize that I get busy in my day. I have to start moving. I realize no matter what, that I also get surrounded by people. I have money. I realize no matter what, I can also get myself a one accommodation room. No matter what, I save money either way. I realize no matter what, you have to save money. You have to realize that no matter what, you just never work for the money that you save. You have to realize that I save money in other ways. I save money by my habits. I save money by letting go of the cigarettes. I just save $7,000 a year. I let go of the alcohol. I just save $6,000 a year. I let go of the cocaine. I save $12,000 a year. You have to realize that is already what most people work for in a year. I saved money. I sleep and I make money that way. I just stay sober. I sleep and I make money. I get wealthier as I get healthier. You have to understand that. You have to understand that your health is everything. You have to realize that when you're a person who's really developing, you will write. You will write something that's really going to help you to succeed. You can do anything in your journal. Your journal will make you incredible. Your journal will help you to communicate. Your journal will help you to really, really live your life in a better world. You live a better life in a better world and in a better way. I realize no matter what, I can always do something that's important. I can always see something that's important. I speak my I intent in my journal as much as I can now. I realize that I just go I just have to do I just have to do this for I just have to go this way for I realize I do this for I can do I can go over here for I realize I just put I everywhere in my journal. I just speak with the I realize that it makes me much more loving for myself to speak my I realize I put reasonings behind what I do. I back it up with more information about what's happened in my life. I put my experiences down in my journal and my story goes down every single day. I realize I find out about my story and myself every single day the more I write in my journal. I find out about the world more every single day I write in my journal. I add value and I teach along the way. I learn on the go as an entrepreneur traveling 1 year Australia for free. I realize no matter what, I created it. I realize I can do it. I'm allowed to do it. You have to realize no matter what, you only ever can do it when you plan. You can only do it when you plan something. You have to realize that those people who never plan are failures. You have to realize that the real failures of life are people who never plan anything. You need to plan. You need to organize. I'm sure that you plan something. I'm never sure of anything. I just realized no matter what, I realized that you are probably a person who does plan something. You put on your clothes, you're watching this video, you plan to watch this video, you plan to walk outside, you plan to grow up to your age. You understand? You just have to start planning more. You have to do more. You have to give more. You have to do more and give more to become more. You have to realize that when you're journaling, you're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to speak better and deliver better. You're going to be able to be a public speaker. You're going to be able to life coach. You're going to be able to manage people. You're going to be able to add value. You can do anything for free. You can do anything for free. You just never work for the money. You have to realize it's never about the money. I never do this for money. I do this to help you. I do this so you can trust me. I realize that I can trust you because you are watching me. I realize no matter what, I trust only Jesus. I only trust Jesus in life. I do what Jesus needs. I need you to realize that I never even trust myself. I trust Jesus more than myself. You need to realize that no matter what, I make mistakes. I realize that Jesus never made a mistake. You have to realize that no matter what, you need to be a person who is doing Jesus' work. You have to realize that no matter what, I deliver value. I'm a person who does grow. I'm a person who does free work for Jesus. You can do whatever you need. You have to believe in what I say as I can explain it. I can realize that I have the the material to back it up. I realize no matter what, I'm also living it. I'm a person who is integrity. I'm a person who's really confident. I'm a person who does write it down and I back it up a million times before I even say it. You have to realize that no matter what, you have to be a person who's really growing yourself to succeed. You have to be a person who's really, really empathetic with yourself. You need to be compassionate. You need to be kind. You write in a journal. You write your fears down. You write your key strengths. You write everything about your life. You write how you grew up. You write your age. You write where you're from. You talk about yourself every single day in your journal. I promise you that you'll become a fashion model. You'll become somebody you always admire. I wake up every day. I get to work right away. I realize that most people get to work. I realize they wake up. I realize they go drive 2 hours to work. I realize they stay there for 8 hours in the warehouse. I realize they drive 2 hours back. I realize that's 10 hours of the day. I realize then they have to go and tend to their wife and kids. I realize then they watch some TV and Netflix. I realize they go sleep and repeat the day. I realize that is never the life. I'll show you my day. I wake up. I start to write in my journal. I start to plan my day. I live every single day accordingly. I realize that today is much different than 1 week ago. I realize I'm smarter today than I was 1 year ago. I realize I'm smarter today than I was 2 seconds ago. I have to be adapting to my day. I have to have a new schedule every single day. I realize that the best schedule in your life is a schedule that is flexible. You need a flexible schedule. You need your schedule to say, I can drink at any time. I can do music at any time. I can do my videos at any time. I can sleep at any time. I can do anything at any time. You need a flexible one. You have to realize that flexible means any time. You need to be able to work at any time. You need to go to the toilet at any time. You just need to do you in a flexible one. You just never need to limit yourself to say you need to be at this place at a certain time every single day. You need to do gym at 6 o'clock in the morning because everybody else does it. You need to wake up at 6 in the morning because millionaires and billionaires do it. You never need to do that. You need to be a person who works with your time schedule based on your habits. You have to realize that your habits is a time schedule. You can only reference that in your journal. You can only plan that in your journal. You have to realize that when you're planning everything in life, you can go around your schedule. You can see what's important for you. You can also label what's missing. You can realize no matter what, that what you're missing is your I intent. You have to realize that you speak your I more. You have to realize no matter what, that you're never missing anything. You're never missing anything in life because you're still living. You have to realize that what you miss is really what you never need. You just write down all your lacks. You write down your needs. You start to plan your life. You have to realize that writing is all about better communication. You have to realize that writing is all about better leadership and better positivity. You need a better mindset. You can only do it through writing. You can realize that writing is a person who can far outweigh the world. You can far be greater than anybody else when you write more than them. You can write more than them. You can do more than them. You have to realize that I get all my petrol, I get all my fuel from writing. I write more than I say on video. I realize that I can then do my videos. I realize that with no writing in my day, I'll be able to do a video. I'll be far slower than everybody else. I have to keep writing. I realize that 24 hours a day I'm writing. I'm writing something. I'm writing my life. I'm walking here. I'm reading body language. I'm writing always my life. I'm writing my each footstep. I have to journal it. I have to document it. I have to be a documenter of my own life. You have to be your own movie. I realize I have a mega drive. I post all my photos. I go to Brisbane. I take photos of the whole city. I post it online for free. I give money for it so that you can see it. I realize I just go as a tourist. I just get my selfie stick. I start doing everything. I go around. I see where I can brand myself. I found 4 spots in Brisbane where I can still go. I go there. I realize no matter what, I plan when to get a new shirt. I plan when to get new jeans. I plan to change my photos with new clothing. I plan my food before I go. I plan my food before I even go to the shopping center so that I can just go there and get what I need. I never have to be confused about it. I realize that most people go to the shopping center and say, ooh, chocolate. I realize no matter what, it's never about the chocolate. I realize that they never plan to stay away from it. You have to realize. You have to realize that you have to stay away from chocolate. You have to understand that it's bad for you. You have to understand that you see $1 on it, you go and get it. You never do that. You never be that $1 man. You be the freedom man. You never be the $1 woman. You be the freedom woman. You have to realize that chocolate will never get you freedom. You understand? You have to understand that food will never get you freedom. You need to minimalize your life. You need to minimalize the 1,000 foods you see in the supermarket. You have to realize that 1,000 foods you see in the supermarket, you need to minimize it into 10 foods. You need to throw away everything else. You have to go to a certain requirement of 10 foods that you eat on a daily basis. And you need to start making those meals in those 10 categories. You have to realize that I can do that. You can realize that I can only do that when I plan. I do that because I am able to really grow and prosper myself to make sure that I study upon nutrition so that I can realize what's good for me and what's not. You need to ask yourself every single question in the dictionary. You just have to realize that you need to write more and grow more, and you have to also be around people who speak better and look better and feel better. You have to realize that you need a plan where you're going to go around life. You need to put it down in your journal. You just post it up online, as I do, for free. You have to understand, I have a whole mega drive full of photos and videos and content. I have a whole documentary of my life in my mega drive. I realize it's just an online storage of Danny Milivojevic. I realize it's better than YouTube. I realize it's better than all social media programs. I realize it's better than a website. I realize that I can go into my social media. I can just, for example, with YouTube, I can only post videos there. I, in my mega drive, can post videos, notes, stories. I can also do audio programs and photos. I can do the whole lot in my mega drive. You have to realize that in YouTube, you can only do videos. You can do photos with videos. You have to relate it to videos. I can relate audios only inside my mega drive. I can do photos. I can do PDFs. I can do audiobooks. I can do everything in terms of what I need. I can just make sure I take 5,000 photos for the day around Brisbane. Of Brisbane, I just upload them straight from my phone on the day. It goes up into my online storage. I give $17 a month now. I used to give $8. I realized that now I have 2 terabytes of more storage. I have another 1.6 terabytes. I just keep loading it. I realize that once it goes over 2 terabytes, I give $30. I get 8 terabytes. You have to realize, I start doing that. I have my whole life inside of my mega drive. I never have to bring it in a USB or external hard drive with me. I realize that it's already online. I realize that my online storage is my external storage drive, and it's really online. I can say it's safe. I realize that no matter what, I just never give the password to anybody. I realize that they can delete it. I realize that will be my whole life gone. I realize that will be a massive blow for you. I realize that no matter what, you have to realize that you take care of yourself. You have to realize that I have to do it. I have to realize that I have to put all my mega drive content and photos of all cities and do all these videos and journaling and all these for free. I realize that it's the best way. I realize though that nobody else can do it for me. I realize that most people never even have an online storage. I realize they have some photos on their computer of themselves and on their phone and in a USB. I realize that some even have a mega storage online and some also have a storage somewhere. I realize that probably they may have Dropbox and Google accounts. You have to realize that you need something that's really going to help you prosper. You need to write more. You need to post it online into your mega drive. You need to let it be. You just put a nice bio link. You say, this is my business. Your story. You have one PDF. You started off with that. You start adding to it. I promise you that you'll start fulfilling more photos into your mega drive. I promise you'll start doing more videos over time. You'll do it over a 10-year period. You'll do it over a 50-year period. You'll start slowly. You have to realize that life is slow. You have to get going now. You have to stop procrastinating. You have to realize that those people around you are never your friend. I have no friends in life. Only have I. Only have I. I realize that I've been with I all my life. I realize that nobody else cares. I realize that nobody else cares about my story. I realize I'll just go and put my story out there. I promise you that somebody will care. I realize that somebody will care when you're so successful. You need that. You need to be more successful. You have to start writing more so you can really develop. I realize also so you can start planning. I understand that no matter what, that the best idea on the planet is to make sure that you're speaking with yourself 24/7. You're planning business strategies. You're planning around yourself. You realize what you're going to do. I realize I just have to make sure that you get that. You need to be able to be a person who's really fluent in your communication. You can only do that with a journal. You can never just be doing videos. You need to also write something. You need to also do audio programs. I need you guys to understand, no matter what, that writing is really going to help you to procrastinate less. You have to realize that writing is something that's really going to help you to elevate forward. You guys have to realize that no matter what, I have a schedule that I have to make sure that I do these videos. I have to go get the shopping, I have to go get clothes, I have to brand myself, I have to make sure I do my music, I have to make sure that I have time for mentors, I have to have time for reading. I realize I have to plan all that. I realize I have to go and minimize everybody who is never around me in terms of I have to get away from them. I never minimize them. I just make sure that I can lift them. I just get away from them to do that. I realize that no matter what, I never have to be in front of people to lift them. I can be online. I can do it in my journal. I can realize I can be in terms of I can be 2 o'clock in the morning. I can make sure no matter what, I'm always number one. I realize no matter what, in any time on the day, I can journal. You have to realize that journaling is everything. You have to realize that journaling is life. You have to realize that those people who journal will always be more successful than the ones who never journal. You need to be a person who's really, let's say, empathetic towards yourself in your journal. You have to realize that when you're speaking with yourself every single day, such as I have, you have to realize that all I've been doing is just making sure that I see how my day is going. I realize no matter what, I plan out a strategy every single day to live much more. I realize I throw away some habits of mine that were negative. In my journal, I say what you never do. I say I will never put my bank, I'll never be placed in ANZ Bank. I'll never go to ANZ Bank. I realize no matter what, I stay away from ANZ Bank now. I realize I say in my journal, I'm only going to be with Commonwealth Bank. I realize I never have to think about all the other banks out there. You have to realize you have to realize that's a mind strategy. You have to realize that is really a better way. You have to realize you're never your mind. You have to realize your mind is your ego. You have to realize you're the heart. You are the heart of the mind. You have to realize no matter what, you are something above this world. You have to realize now that when you're really studying upon how to be better, you can only do that in a journal. You can be watching a YouTube video. You can write it down. You can write everything that you believe about the video. You can write it down, and you can add value for people in terms of who's watching you. You have to realize that you only do it for God. You never do it for people. You never even do it for yourself. You do it for God. You do it for free. I realize I have around 40 to 50 journals a month. I can go up to 60 and 70 journals a month. I just realized that I have other aspects of life to do every single day. I realized that I highlight my day every single day in my journal. I talk about my day as much as I can. I realize the more I talk about it, the more I can do it. I realize it's just, you have to write more, you have to really be complacent in yourself. You have to realize that you must be someone in your life. You have to realize that someone must have a story. You need a story in order to be successful. You have to realize that those people who have no stories. You have to realize they are full of purpose with no purpose. You have to realize that those people who have no stories have no purpose. You have to realize that those people who give out their stories are more successful. You can see, for example, Rocky Balboa. You can see Sylvester Stallone. You can see how he actually became successful because he gave you a story behind what he'd done. You have to realize, you can see also Arnold Schwarzenegger. You can see that he, throughout his time, he gave a story. You can see that he gave a story about how to be. You see how he became more successful. You can see that he gave a story on how he became successful. You need to also be more successful in your life. You have to realize that your journal is your writing method. You need to realize that if you're a person who has ADHD or schizophrenia or any type of mental health disorder, you can be any age in life and you can really write for yourself. You never have to wait. You never procrastinate. You can start right now. You can start to really do your life much better. You have to realize that no matter what, you're always a person. You're always a person doing much better. You're always a person realizing that you can do something much more empathetic for yourself. You You have to realize that sometimes you have to get away from the crowd. You have to realize you get away from the noise so you can brighten your aspect of life, so you realize what's happening. You have to always make sure that your life is something of nature so you can do much better. You have to just get away from people sometimes. You have to realize that no matter what happens, that some people will just never care about you. And you have to realize that in this case you have a woman. You have to realize no matter what, you just be a person who is really just up there in life. You have to realize that the most important aspect of your life is writing. You need to be able to have writing as your plan A method. I realize that writing is really my plan B. I realize no matter what, I make my plan B my plan A. You have to realize that my plan A is do my videos. You have to realize that when I cannot do my videos, I can do my writing. I can do anything I set my mind to. I realize no matter what, you always never say that you cannot do something. You have to always say that you can do anything once you say you cannot do something. You have to realize you repeat those affirmations every single day. You do it in your journal. You also have to see that those people who are more successful are always planning much better in terms of their wordings. You have to realize they're more in terms of their vocabulary. You can realize they have a better vocabulary. I realize no matter what that I'm always a person growing my synonyms and my antonyms. I'm always connecting my words together. I'm always connecting the vocabularies and words of my intents. I always make sure that I have a better program in my mind. I realize no matter what, I have a day, I have myself, I have my journal, I have my phone. You have to realize that no matter what, in the next 6 years, you have so much material that you can do that can actually help people. You realize no matter what, you can go help yourself now. You have to realize that it's never about the money. You have to realize it's about your journal. You have to realize it's about you really, really succeeding. You need to realize that the more you write in daily life, the more you can do. You have to realize that the more you can really write in a fashion of better, you have to realize you have to get better as you write. You have to realize the more you write, you have to realize you're working your mind even more. When you are really, really working your mind, you will start to spin the propeller, you'll start to become more successful, you'll start to get your story out there more, you start to be more of a leader. You need more reasonings behind your life in terms of how to succeed. You can do that in a journal. You can always make sure that you can lift yourself. You can always lift your crowd in your journal. You never have to be on camera. You can start on inside your journal. You can realize that you just start off word by word. You start with one step at a time. You have to realize that your whole life is one step. You have to realize that 1 year is one step. You have to realize that 50 years is one step. You have to realize you have to make your life one step only. You have to minimalize everything. You have to eat one food only. You have to eat one drink. You have to walk one way. You have to go life in one way. You understand? You never go in other people's ways. You just go in the one way. You have to realize that there is only one way of life. You have to realize that your one way is unique to someone else's. You have to realize that someone else's life is one way also. You have to realize that the one way is up. You need to go up. You need to do something that's far incredible. You need to do something that's really going to boost your quality of life. You need to do something that's really going to lift you. You need to realize that no matter what, you can expand your topic, you can expand something in your life, and you can all put it in your journal. You have to realize that life is always capable of giving you cards. You have to be on top of it inside of a journal. You have to realize I was dealt these cards today. I solve it this way in my journal. You have to solve it every single day. You have to solve your life every single day. You realize that the more you solve, you'll become more simplified. You just keep really, really emphasizing about everything in life. You have to realize that you never stick to a topic, really. You just make sure you broaden your aspect of life. You broaden everything in terms of that aspect. You really need to solidify what you're really saying. You have to realize that no matter what, you just keep speaking. You keep always giving more. You realize that's always the key to a journal and for your life. You have to realize no matter what, I always do it for God. I'm always writing for God. I'm always looking at what Jesus done. You have to realize you can also study upon Jesus and you can write it in your journal. You can link anything with your journal. You have to realize that when you're a person lacking something in life, you can write about what you lack. You can also write about how to get it in your journal. You can write the steps in your journal about how to get what you lack. You can write all the little small micro steps before those goals. You can realize that you can get to your goal with all of that. You have to realize that no matter what, you have a vision. You can also use Stephen R. Covey's technique. You have the biggest vision. You have your biggest vision. You now write the steps from what is right after. You have to realize. You have to write what is right before that vision. You then go to step 8. You then go to step 7. You go to step 6. You bring it down to step 1. You then bring it into micromanaging steps. You then go -1, you go -2, you go -3. You have to realize no matter what, you just have to put all these goals in mind. You have to start from the top. You put the goals and you work it down. You look at your first step. Once you've completed your first step, you can see a whole path on how to get to your vision. You have to realize that your vision is something that has to be always in freedom. You never worry about numbers. You never worry about what's minus and what's plus. You have to realize that your habits are everything. You have to realize that Lao Tzu says, your habits are your destiny. You have to realize that those people you surround yourself with are you. You have to surround yourself with better people. You have to understand that those better people are better skilled. You have to realize that those better people are better leaders and have more money and have everything more. You have to realize that money is never the key solution to anything. You have to realize that your skills are. You have to realize that free work is. You have to realize that when you're really leading someone, you're really doing it for free. You're doing it to lead yourself. You're able to manage others when you're able to really manage yourself. You never go to manage others when you can never manage yourself. You never go to love others when you can never love yourself. You never do anything for others when you can never do anything for yourself. You have to focus on yourself only in life. I promise you that when you focus on yourself only, you'll teach others on how to focus on themselves only. You have to realize that writing and a journal is one way to focus on yourself even more than most people. You have to realize that you can delve into the information overload. You have to realize that what that is. You have to realize no matter what, that you really invest. You have to invest in yourself, into your journal. You have to realize that no matter what, that your journal is everything. You need to put those words out there. You need to start planning with your heart. You have to start planning around your body. You have to start planning with your mind. You have to start planning with the world around you. You have to realize that when you're traveling 1 year Australia, you have to have a journal with you. You have to start documenting where you will go and where you will never go again. You have to realize that when you're with people, you have a journal. You have to start saying, who are you going to hang around with and who are you never going to hang around with? You have to realize when you are giving money towards something, you have your journal, you would say where you're going to give your money and where you are never going to give your money. I realize no matter what, in my journal, I have what you never do. I realize at the top of the folder, I write what you never do. I have to ask, why do you do that? You have to realize no matter what, I do that so that I can show you what you can never do in life. You must never do it. You have to realize that is my philosophy. And you have to realize when I say you must stay away from a car, I say it for a reason. I say it so that you can have more money. I say it so that you can have a better life. I realize that you have to decrease your life in order to expand it. You have to really downsize your life. You never decrease your life. You just downsize your life. You realize that you never even need a car. You have to realize that. You have to realize that everybody's different. I live my life in a certain way. You can always copy me. You can always make sure that when I say you get away from the car and you never have a car in your life, you can copy that method and you can live by that method, because I love other people to drive me. I'd rather have a limo with a person always. I'd rather have a limo where it always shines up real nice in front of me. I'd rather have a driver. I get my wife into my limo. I'd rather always have a car ready with someone else driving me. I never have to drive it. I need you to realize you always can do that. I realize that many people prefer to drive themselves. I realize that many middle class people are driving themselves today. I never have to be that person. I can be the 1% of the people where I have a pilot driving me. I have somebody driving me. I just love that. I love to be driven. I used to drive people so much. I realized they never did it for me. I realized some people did it for me when I asked. You have to realize that most people never do it for you. You have to realize that what you ask for is what you get. You have to keep asking. You have to keep asking on how to better yourself. You have to better your mind. You have to better your mentality. You can do it in a journal. You can do everything in a journal. You can really, really write much better. You can really boost your vocabulary. You can really increase your leadership skills and look better when you're planning everything. You need to be able to plan. You need to be able to do. You need to be able to put yourself out there. You need to be able to be a person really far beyond life. You need to realize that you just keep doing what you're doing. You have to realize that you have to do your videos on the go too. You have to realize you have to have time for everything. You have to plan it. You have to just push your heart into it. You have to go do it. You have to go and study something that's really going to, you have to go study something that's going to help you succeed. You have to really push yourself to talk. You have to really push yourself to get out there. I mean that you have to really succeed in order to be someone. You have to push yourself and you have to look for ways. You can only do that in your journal. You can never do that in your head. You have to write it down. I'm just saying write it down. You have to realize that I am writing everything down every single day. I get up, I start business right away. I realize I start with my journal every single day. I start my work right away. I do it for free. I realize that many people start their work for money. I realize they wake up and they drink a coffee and they're looking at TV. I never do that. I never drink coffee and cigarettes. I used to have a cigarette and a coffee in the morning while watching TV and the soccer before I even went to school. I realized no matter what, I did that while I was working too. I did that, I quit it. I started saving money. I started really amplifying my habits. I really started to improve my habits. I really started to do something that's really going to help me succeed. You have to realize that you have to be a person who is going to wake up, you get to business right away. You have your phone. You just need your phone. You never need the 9-to-5 job. I realize that many people wake up, I realize they'll have a coffee, I realize they have a cigarette, I realize they just get out into traffic, I realize they're waiting in traffic for 1 hour, I realize by the time they get to work, I realize 1 hour's passed, I realize they're already late, I realize the boss is already angry. You have to realize they have 8 hours of work for someone else, for money. You never work for money. You have to realize you never work for money, you work for freedom. You have to understand that. You have to understand that money will never get you what you need. You have to understand that other people will never get you what you need. You have to realize that money is a waste of time. You have to understand that freedom alone is the best way to live. You need freedom. You need to figure out your freedom. You need to figure out how can you work for Jesus more. You have to figure out what can you do better than someone else. You have to figure out how you're going to increase your skills. You have to realize that self-education is key. You have to realize that some people are going to really be negative on you no matter what you are. I had negative people when I was below people. I had negative people when I was nobody. You have to understand, I'm a somebody now. I have more haters now than I did when I was a nobody. You'll always have haters. You have to understand that you just go away from them. You block them all out from your life. You block all the people from your life. You just go and travel. You go and travel, and who cares about them? You have to understand that you are important. You just have to make it sure every single day you're loving yourself more than enough in your journal. You have to realize that the more you write about yourself in your journal, the more of a belief you're going to have in yourself to succeed. You have to realize your journal is your writing method. You need to learn how to write in your journal. You need to realize that your journal is everything. I do everything with my journal. I will never be able to live my life today without my journal. I promise you. I promise you I will never be able to plan what I did. I'd be stuck in one place all my life. I promise you I'd never have the success I have. I'd never be able to travel Australia without my journal. I'd never be able to be in this position. I'd never be able to quit all those habits I did. I promise you that I did that with a journal. I planned for it. I started to succeed. I started to study. I read something about something. I started to write it in my journal in my own way. I started to paraphrase in a different way. I started to do synonyms. I started to link words. I started to do quotes too. I have over 23,000 quotes. You have to realize that 23,000 quotes is going to help you with 23,000 ideas. You have to understand that when I give you ideas, I'm giving you value based on self-education and based on my mentality and what I've thought over the years. And no matter what, you can always go read it for free because that's the best business idea. I give it to you for free. You have to realize that that's the successful business that you need. You have to realize when you're doing your journal, or you're doing anything for free, or you're doing this video and you give it for free, you have to realize that people are going to respect you. You have to realize that people are going to give you more in return for what you gave them. You have to realize when you really help someone's life, you have to realize that person's going to come and give you some money for free. You have to realize that you just need to go and help more people. You have to give the service first, and you just keep going. You just keep going. You believe in yourself. You realize that you are a person who is integrity. You realize that you have to step up. You have to step up for yourself. You have to step up in your own personal growth. Otherwise, you have to go to a 9-to-5 job. You have to realize it's either growth or 9-to-5 job. I grow 24/7. I work 24/7 as an entrepreneur. I go around the world. I have time freedom. I have money freedom. I have personal freedom. I have emotional freedom. I go sober. I live sober. I have better habits. I only do this because I plan for it in my journal. I realize that those people who work in a 9-to-5 job, you realize that they have nothing in life. You realize that they may have a family. You realize they may have a crowd with them. You realize that they are nobodies. You need to be a somebody now. You need to start moving away from that crowd. You have to realize that that crowd is never going to help you do anything. You have to realize that every single person in life has less than 10 close friends. You have to realize that every person in life is only working for themselves in terms of you have to work for God. You have to realize that most people are working for themselves. I work for God. I don't even work for myself anymore. I realize that selfish pleasures and just working for yourself alone is selfish. And you never inspire God by that. You need to work for God to inspire God. You have to put God above you. You have to realize that Jesus is always first. You have to realize that. I put Jesus first. I realize when I put Jesus first, I'm also first. You have to realize that you need a better solution. You have to realize that money is never the solution. You have to realize that working for money is the root of all evil. You have to realize that working for the mortgage rate is the root of all evil. You have to realize that no matter what, you never work for real estate, you never work for possessions of this world, you never work for anything other than God. You have to realize you have to work for something above this world. You have to realize that you have to realize that's the goodness in you. You have to be innocent. You have to work yourself into being younger with your journal. You have to realize that you can plan anything in life when you're really stress-free, in terms of negative stress-free. You have some positive stress. I promise you, the positive stress is much better. You need positive stress. You need to look younger. You need to feel younger. You need to plan your health. You need to plan how much percentages are you going to do every day in terms of eating and protein, and you have to do your calculations. You need a financial journal too. I have a financial journal. I realize no matter what, I just have one. I have a time journal too. I realize I have a time journal, a step journal. I have every single journal on the planet inside my financial journal. I realize no matter what, I'm always looking for more ideas. I realize no matter what, I see that those people who help me for free, I realize they're legends. I realize I love them. I realize I'll go miles for them because they go for miles for me. You have to realize that most people will never go miles for you. You have to realize that most people will ask you for money first before you even get some free information. You have to realize a lawyer, you have to see they charge you have to see that they charge per 6 minutes. You can have one sentence from them, you realize you've lost already $100. You have to realize that is a scam. You have to realize when money is involved, you always see a scam. You have to realize that most of the food out there is a scam in money. You have to realize that anything that's price tagged, you have to realize it's a scam. You have to realize that freeness and freedom, such as the Bible, is never a scam. You have to realize that the Bible is for free. You never see Jesus saying, you have to give me some money for my Bible. You have to realize that many people would never even believe Jesus. You have to understand. You have to understand that the Bible is for free. You have to believe in what's free in life. You believe in what's free in life. You never believe in prices. You understand? You never sell yourself for money. You never put your book out that you wrote in your journal for money. What you do is, you have to realize what you do is, you put yourself in your shoes, you write in your journal, you realize that you now need to plan a way for yourself to stay away from the crowd. You have to stay away from the prices that you see. You have to stay away from all the subscriptions. You have to start boosting your mentality and your health and your nutrition, and you have to start looking good. You have to start modeling. You have to start being an entrepreneur. You have to start traveling. You have to start having a family. You have to start really growing and adapting and planning ahead. You have to realize you can never plan ahead with your mind. You can never do it with your mind alone. You need some tools. You need some technology. You need something to write on. You need to learn how to write on your own. I can never teach you how to write. I can show you techniques on how to write better. You understand? I can never make you do anything. You have to realize I have to inspire you though. I have to inspire you. I have to motivate you in order to pick up your phone, and you have to make sure that you take those steps so that you can see my successful life, so that you can see that journaling really works. You can go and see my journaling. You can go read ideas after ideas after ideas on how to journal. You understand? You have to realize that my journal and my writing ability, you can go and see it inside of my Mega Drive based on how I really write. You can go and read my examples. You can go and take those examples. You can go and throw it into yours. You just paraphrase it in a new way. You understand how to write? You have to realize you can say apple. You can say some words. You can go and connect those words together. You can start learning some sentences. You have to go, how do I say this word? You have to say, how do I pronounce this word? You have to learn how to write. You have to learn how to do everything. You have to learn how to be a better person. You have to learn how to have more attitude in terms of a better attitude. You never just give me attitude. You give me a better attitude. You never just write. You never just write. You write better. You never just live life. You live better. You have to realize you just have to do something always to live your life. I'm rich or better. Whereas no matter what, that you just be careful about yourself and others. You have to realize that no matter what, that most people are never on your side. You have to realize that nobody's on your side in life. I'm only on God's side. You have to be on God's side. You have to realize that everybody you see is never on your side and he's never in it for you. You have to realize you have to be in it for God. I'm never in it for. I'm only in it for God. You have to realize that is everything. You have to realize that God gave you life. You have to work for God now. You have to do something for free. You can see the Bible. You can see full of writing. You understand? You can understand it's for free. You can understand that freeness is the way to go. You can understand that freeness is the test of time. You have to realize that those people who price themselves for a certain amount of money are eventually going for free. You have to realize that no matter what, you need to be a person who's right now never working for money. You need to realize that you need to start journaling. You need to start taking my ideas. You have to start really amplifying your soul and growth. You have to be a soul growth person. You have to be a person who's really a growth coach. You have to coach someone on something. You have to coach people in order to coach yourself. You have to really understand what you're learning by applying it into video and in your journal. I realize no matter what, I always have passions. I can go around the world now for free. I do it for free. I realize I have no prices. I remove the prices from my life. I realize I can have a jet. I realize I never worry about the cost. I never worry about costs. I never say costs. I realize no matter what, that I only invest. I realize in my life there is no costs. I have no expenses. I have only freedom. I have only investments. I only invest in freedom. You understand? I invest where the freeway is. I'd rather go for something that's less pricey than something that's more pricey. You have to realize that I'm not cheap either. I'm not expensive. I just realize that the freeway is much better. I realize that the freeway is less pricey. You understand? You have to understand that people are giving you scams about what's cheap and what's expensive. You have to realize that the most affordable way is the freedom. You need to go towards freedom. You need to realize that when you're speaking, you can see that people you can see that they don't care. You can realize that you just need to just do you. You have to realize that those people who disturb you, you have to find yourself a nice place where you can do your videos and where you can really start to emphasize about what you're doing. You have to realize that on the go, I apologize when people are running around and speaking over my video. I realize that no matter what, I have to do my video anyway. I have to realize that I can really suss out a better way for myself to do everything. You need to realize that those people who are really amplifying themselves are people who are writing in their journals. I realize that they are the most successful people with high sex drives. You have to realize that you gain everything that you ever need in a journal. You gain it all. You gain what you need. You gain all the success that you ever need when you are really speaking yourself much better. You have to speak up. You have to realize that journaling is one way to speak up. You have to realize that one way you can do everything is in your journal. You have to see that your journal is really something that's really going to help broaden your aspect of life. You have to realize that you have to tune out the noise from your life. You have to go somewhere really quiet and you have to do everything on the go. You have to really plan it. I realize that no matter what, because I have people running around here, around my video, and I have cars and everything, I realized I did it in the spur of the moment. I realized that I did it really fast. I really never planned for it. I realized that I have to plan better. I have to make sure that before I even do a video, I never rush into it. I rushed into it. I rushed into a 1 hour video today. I realized I just pushed my heart into it. I realized no matter what, I still gave some information. I learned something along the way. I realized no matter what, you always have to learn something along the way. You never just speak to never learn. You have to speak to learn. You have to speak to grow. You have to speak to do everything for yourself. You have to realize that's the only way. You can realize that's the only way you can do life. You have to grow as a human person. You can only do that as you write. You can only do that as you write your story. You write your chapters. You write what's going on in your life. You write everything about your life that you can. You just do your life incredibly well in terms of a better way than well. You never have to be well. You can be better than well. You can be better than excellent. You can always be better than something. You never be labeled by what people say. You get called an asshole, you're better than an asshole. You get called something in life, you're better than something. You get called God, you're better than God. You understand? You never label yourself about anything. You're always better than what people say. You're always better than what you say. You understand? You just be better. You're better than everything. You have to realize that writing is really going to boost your confidence. It's going to boost your skills. It's going to boost your health. It's going to boost everything when you're planning. You have to realize that you have to realize that most people are never planning. You have to realize that most people are looking at the television. You have to see that most people are working for money, and that's the root of all evil. You never waste your time. You never waste your time. You have to realize that the TV without self-education is rubbish. You need to be self-education. You need to be a person who's really studying human life. You have to study yourself. You need to be your own scientist. You never need a qualification to be a scientist. You can just go study the galaxy. You never need people to give you a qualification to go study how the world is. You understand? You just go and study. You go and study human behavior. You go and study how to talk better. You be curious about life. You have to realize that open-mindedness is everything. You can watch my videos. You realize that every single video is going to inspire you. You realize that every single video is going to give you some ideas. You have to realize that the more ideas you do grab from me, I promise you, you'll be more lifted. I promise you, you'll be more skilled. I promise you that you'll have more skills to write. I promise you, you have more skills to do everything. I promise you that you go and read my 23,000 quotes. I promise you, you'll be motivated. I promise you that you go and read as much as you can. You realize that you never put limits in yourself. You never have numbers in your life. You never speak numbers in your life. You speak freedom now. You understand? You have to speak freedom. You speak nothing about numbers. You have to realize that those people who speak more of freedom in terms of Jesus' name, you have to realize that those people are the most successful. You have to realize that you need to be the most successful person on the planet by giving free work. You do it for free. You get started for free today. You get started your business. You start your business for free. You get your business started for free. You never need money to start anything. You can start living life today without money, forever. You see, forever. You can live life forever without money. You have to realize you need to link more and more information together with the I and you together so that you can really, really boost your quality of life. You have to realize that those people who just blurt out words from above and beyond, you have to realize that those people never learn anything. You need to be above and beyond. You have to realize you have to be better than everybody. You have to. You just have to teach how to do that. You have to teach how in everything that you say and do, and you have to make sure that you're living that. You have to be the person and the role model speaking your intent and living it. You have to realize that is integrity. You have to be a person of integrity. You have to realize that your journal is going to help you speak your words. You can do it silently. You can do it silently in the night. You just write with God. You write everything down. You never post it online. You post it into a mega drive. You put it online in a storage. You put it in a link and you just share it around. You say, this is my journal. You say, this is my journal. You start slowly building it every single day. I promise you that eventually you're going to find more ideas. You're going to start reading more. You're going to start learning more. You're going to say, I have to learn something. You're going to say in your journal, what will I learn? You can say, I am interested in this. You can go in this. You understand? You can go and read whatever you're interested in. You can do whatever you need to do in your journal. You have to plan your life ahead. You have to realize that words can sink into words, into words, into words. You can sink your whole life into one word. I. I is everything. You have to realize that I is the most important category in your life. You have to realize that the more you use your I and you, the better you are. You have to realize that no matter what, use your I intent, use your I factor. I love this, I love that. You have to have a high I for ideas. I love you. I love you. You need to have a big I for intent. I for ideas. You understand? You have to understand that intent has an I. You have to understand that intent never has an E. You need the I factor. You need the I factor. I love you. You have to love yourself more in your journal. You realize that the more you write in your journal, the more you succeed, the more you'll be abbreviated. You have more verbs, you have more adjectives, you have more vocabularies, you have more calculations, you have more measurements, you have more space, you have more clarity, you have more of everything you ever need. You have everything inside of your journal. I realize no matter what, guys, I will leave you in this video. I hope that you really, really share me around. I promise you that I've given my best in this video. I have to go do some stuff. I realize that you guys go and start writing today. I need you to start being motivated. I need you to start really, really improving your life. I realize that no matter what, I'll see you guys in the next video.